Hello guys, this is CodeNCode and this is fourth lecture of number theory updated series, right? In this lecture, we are going to learn one of the most important algorithms in number theory, that is Sieve algorithm, right? So we are going to cover Sieve of Eratosthenes. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing its name correctly. For the rest of this lecture, we are going to call it Sieve algorithm, all right? So let's get started. So why do we need sieve? So sieve algorithm is used for primality test. We already know one of the algorithm for primality test that does primality test in square root of n time, right? So why do we need sieve? Let's learn that first. So let's say you are to answer roughly about 1,000,000 queries, right? In each query you'll be given n, which can be as large as 10^6 itself, right? Now you have to tell whether n is prime or not. Again, primality test, right? So how much time will it take? For a rough approximation, you can assume that the online judge has a speed of 10^7 operation per second. This is a very good estimation and approximation. I have utilized this assumption throughout my competitive programming for estimating whether my solution would get TLE or not. Alright, so you can assume that the online judge has a speed of 10^7 number of operation per second. Alright, now let's approximate how much operation we'll need. So as there are 10^6 number of queries and each query is going to take in the worst case 10^3 number of operation, because we are going to solve it in square root of n time, right? So square root of n is 10^3, so total number of operations will be 10^9, right? And speed of speed execution is 10^7 operation per second, so total number of total number of seconds is going to take is 100. 10^9 divided by 10^7 seconds, that is 100 seconds. So a solution will take 100 seconds. Usually the time limit is 1 or 2 seconds, right? So clearly this solution will fail. So the algorithm that we know for primality test, that runs in square root of n time, will not pass this, right? So now let's see, how does Sieve help? So same situation, right? So now the way Sieve works is that it does a little bit of pre-processing, which takes NloglogN time, right? Now once the pre-processing is done, you can answer each query in constant time. That means big O of 1 time, and of course it takes extra space big O of n, right? Now the pre-processing time is NloglogN, right? So if we calculate again, the total number of operations will be 10^6 times 2.6, right? When n is 1,000,000, log n is roughly 2.6, right? So 10^6 times 2.6, and then there are 1,000,000 queries, so 10^6 here times 1, because each query now you can answer in constant time. See, earlier we were answering each query in square root of n time. Here you can answer each query in constant time. That's why 10^6 times 1. So total number of operations will be 3.6 times 1,000,000. Right, now the total time taken will be 3.6 times 10^6 divided by 10^7, right? And that would result into 0.36 seconds. See, earlier we were taking 100 seconds. Now the same amount of work we are able to do in 0.36 seconds, and this solution will pass, right? Why it is faster? Because you can answer each query in constant time, right? And it only takes NloglogN time for pre-processing. So that's how Sieve algorithm helps. Now let's see how Sieve algorithm actually works. It works on a very simple and basic assumption, not assumption, actually a fact, that if p is a prime number, none of its multiple can be prime, right? That means, let's say 2 is a prime number, of course, so none of its multiple, that are 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, xyz, right? None of the multiples can be prime. That's the only working principle of Sieve. So how we are going to apply Sieve algorithm or learn it is this. So define an array of size n+1, because we want indices from 1 to n, that's why n+1 array, and initialize all of them with true, right? So n+1, all of them I have initialized at true, right? AR of 0 and AR of 1 you can set it as false. So now AR of I represents whether I is a prime number or not. For example, if I wanted to check whether 10 is a prime number or not, I'll check at AR of 10. If AR of 10 is true, that means 10 is a prime number, otherwise not. So we have initialized the whole array. This is a one-dimensional array, just so that I can fit in these many numbers on a small screen. I have represented it as a 2D array. This is actually a one-dimensional array, right? Now So we initialize the whole array as true. We are assuming everything is a prime number. Alright. Now 0 and 1 we initialize as false. They can never be prime number. They are not the prime number. That's why we initialize them as false, right? And we'll start from 2. Now green color represents prime number, red color represents not a prime number, and composite number, right? So how do we proceed with it? So as simple as that, we'll go through each number. So we'll go from 2 to n. 1 is not a prime number, right? So we'll go from 2 to n, and if we find whether the ith number is, if I is prime number, we'll go ahead and cross out all of its multiple, right? Basically, we'll go ahead and basically set all of its multiple as false because they are not the prime number anymore. So we'll start from 2, go till n, and each time we'll check whether the ith number is prime or not. If it is prime, as simple as that, cross out all its multiple, right? So let's start with 2. As you can see, we are at 2. 2 is bold, right? So we are at 2, right? I is equals to 2. So clearly we are starting at 2. Now what we are going to do, we'll check whether 2 is a prime number or not. AR of 2 is clearly true because this is green, right? So AR of 2 is green, that means 2 is a prime number. So what we'll do is we'll go inside this for loop. Basically there will be another for loop, nested for loop, that is to cross out all multiple of I if I is a prime number. So clearly I is a prime number where I is equal to 2. So we'll go ahead, run another for loop, and this time we'll start from twice of I, right? 4, and then we'll go to 6, 8, 10, xyz. So we'll start from twice of I and go till n again, each time incrementing j by I, right? So to move on to the next multiple, and each time what we are going to do, we are going to set AR of j is equals to false, right? So all of the multiple of 2 will be 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, xyz will be crossed out. So you see, we found 2 was a prime number, and in a single operation, I mean crossing out, I'm counting crossing out as a single operation. In a single operation we almost crossed out half the numbers, right? So now we are done. I again plus plus, so I is 3. Is 3 a prime number? Yes. AR of 3 is still true. That means 3 is a prime number. So again we'll go to the nested loop and cross out all multiple of 3. So basically 9, 15, 21, all of these will be crossed out, right? Done. Now we'll move on to 4. Is 4 a prime number? No, 4 is not a prime number. Move on. Is 5 a prime number? Yes, 5 is a prime number. So we'll go ahead and cross out all multiple of 5. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, xyz, right? Done. We'll move on to 6. Is 6 a prime number? No. AR of 6 is false, right? We'll move on to 7. Is 7 a prime number? Yes. AR of 7 is true. So we are at 7 and we'll cross out all multiple of 7. So if you see, 49 will be crossed out, right? So on and so forth. So this way we'll keep on going ahead and ahead and ahead. Each time if we find whether if I is a prime number, we'll go to the nested loop and cross out all multiple of I, right? As simple as that. So we'll skip out 8, 9 and 10. We'll move on to 11. 11 is a prime number. So we'll again cross out all multiple of 11, right? So this is how Sieve algorithm works. Now remember, we are starting from 2 of I. Then we are going to cross out all multiple of I. There is improvisation. This is the simplest version, easiest version that I'm teaching you so that you can understand it better, right? There are improvisation and optimization for this technique, which I'll tell you in the next lecture. In this lecture, I just want to give you easiest and the simplest implementation so you don't find it hard to learn and implement yourself, right? So yeah, this is how Sieve algorithm works. Now let's take a look at the implementation. So this is a function that basically does the pre-processing for n numbers. N is the number up to which they can ask that whether this number is prime or not. In our case, n was 1,000,000. They could ask whether 1,000,000 is a prime number or not, right? So you get that n and you create an array of size n plus 1 so that we have indices from 1 till n, right? And we have initialized all to true. We are assuming every number is a prime number, but we know 0 and 1 are not a prime number, so we are setting them false. Now starting from 2, we are going till n, each time I plus plus. Each time we are checking whether AR of I is true or not. If AR of I is true, that means I is a prime number. Go ahead, cross out all multiples of I. So we are starting from twice of I, then nested loop, then j is less than or equals to n, clearly j plus equals to I. Basically we are moving on to the next, to the next, to the next multiple of I. And each time AR of j is equals to 4, as simple as that. This completes your pre-processing. Now this vector AR holds the information. Now if you want to check whether 5 is a prime number or not, all you have to do is check whether AR of 5 is true or false. If AR of 5 is true, 5 is a prime number, otherwise it will be false, right? So yeah, this is the implementation of Sieve algorithm. You can see it's a very simple implementation, right? Easy to learn, easy to implement, but very, very important. It helps you calculate a lot of things, not just this, but to calculate a number of divisor, sum of divisor, count of divisor, number of and count are same, and phi, and a lot of things it helps you calculate, right? Easy to learn, but very important. So yeah, this is it for this lecture. If you want any practice problem, do let me know in the comment section. I'll provide that. Or if you have any problem that you can solve using this and you want to suggest that, please post it down in the comment section also. So yeah, this is it for this lecture. Thank you guys for watching. Until the next video drops, keep coding. Thank you.